to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. And actually, I'm recording this on Wednesday, just 2 days before it's airing, after spending an incredible week at High Point Market. It's kind of late. It's been a crazy week, but here we are. I wanted to share with you a couple of updates from the week and also a huge thanks and a shout out to Jaipur Living and Mydoma Studio for hosting my 60th birthday party. In just a minute, I'm going to air for you the presentation I gave at Jaipur for my 60th birthday. Before we get to that, I just want to say to you that it really was an amazing week. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy talking with you, meeting with you, hearing about your businesses. You know, the week started, it was awesome. Vincenz, Diana, my marketing coordinator extraordinaire. We got there at the house on Thursday night to find that Eileen Hahn, my cousin, and Jennifer Tokayan were already there waiting for us. As the night would go on, Kat Anderson, Sarah Brennan, and Shira Charles would show up, and so would the Pinot Noir. And so the week begins. A day or so later, Vita Vykoska, my WTF partner in crime, would arrive as well. I have to say, it's so much fun spending time with smart people that you respect and enjoy, and you really have opportunity to level up your business and your conversations. I hope that you take the time to do the same thing. All right. Friday morning, we were off to our Power Talk Friday tour for multi-seven-figure firms. What an amazing day we had. Tons of conversation about leadership, team building, profit margins, and honing our point of view. All ending with a celebration dinner with our sponsors, Mydoma Studio, Revelwoods, and High Point Financial Design. All around fantastic day. Saturday, literally seconds after the lift let us out, I run right into my bestie, Denise Pugh. I love Denise. Hi, lady. I love you. I love when the universe always puts me in the path to the people that I care about. And it happens with the Vincenz and I a lot. And it happens with Denise and I as well. And we've become like market conference buddies. And I just value our time together so much. So this is a high five and a shout out to you, my friend. Next, we go on to the market, and I moderated the panel, Managing Market Fluctuations. This was also at Jaipur Living, and it was sponsored by Interior Design Society and Revelwoods. The Vin Man, Nicole Heimer of Glory and Brand, Rashida Gray of Gray Space Interiors, and Claire Jefford killed it. All right. Here, I'm going to share with you the top takeaways from this panel, just so that the show literally has some actionable content for you, okay? So, thinking about market fluctuations, economic fluctuations, read between the lines, my friends, all right? Number one thing, know your cost to be open number. What are the non-negotiable expenses you will pay no matter how much business you have or don't have, okay? These are the keep the lights on things, all right? Figure them out. Know what your hard number is that you have to make every month, okay? Number two, get all operational expenses in line now. Now is the time to go through it line by line, cut the fat, be critical. You don't have to be sell off the house and sell off the family jewels at this point, but Why not get a line on this, right? Be critical and start to save. All right. Number 3, figure out if you have other services you can offer, not too far off from your current services, because you want to attract your same client base and focus on that same client base. But are there things you can offer them, different things at different price points, so that they can buy from you even if they think they're starting to feel a slight pinch? So what would that look like? What would that be? Give it some thought, all right? And then 4, finally, as we say in Exciting Windows, always be marketing. This is not the time. In fact, here's a newsflash for you. It is never the time to cut out your marketing. You want to be the one standing. You want to be the one noticed. You want to be the one who gets whatever market share there is to get. And that is only achieved if you maintain your marketing. All right? So then day 3 was the birthday party. Jaipur Living and Mydoma Studio, as I said, threw me a huge, big 60th birthday party. It was fantastic. And I have to say, it was just pretty special. Truly, if you were there, I thank you for showing up. All right, I'm just going to move on, all right? Of course, Market was filled with tons of other fun events and sharing and meeting you and doing all the things. But I want to say, for all of you that carved out the time to celebrate my birthday with me, thank you. It was very special, and I appreciate it. And for you, maybe you are a designer in Australia, in Ireland, in England, in any and all parts of the U.S. that couldn't be there but sent me birthday wishes. Thank you too. I know you said you wanted to be there, so here's a little piece of it, what you would have heard if you could have been there with us together. I thought what I would do is I would share with you 3 defining moments in my life. And there's been a lot of them. I picked 3 because we only have 45 minutes, right? So the first moment is when I was in 8th grade. I was actually 9th. I was going into 9th grade, okay? And I had gone to a parochial grammar school, and I went to a public high school. And I could not wait to get into this high school because I had older cousins in the high school, and they used to tell me about all the activities that they had in the high school. And so I get there, and it's like the 2nd or 3rd day of school, and I am walking all around the school, and everywhere I go, there is this sign: ski club, Spanish club, hockey club, all these things. I was like, oh my goodness. And then I turned the corner going to history class one day, and right there in front of me, it was student government elections. And I thought, oh, I need to do that. I have to do that. What is that? I have to do that. And here's the thing. Here's why I had to do it. Because at 13 years old, I was 100% convinced that I was going to be president of the United States. And you're laughing, but there was nothing funny about it. I was going to be president of the United States.
Not too late.
Right? So the thing is, I literally was like, this is the stepping stone. Like, I had no idea how I was going to be president of the United States, but I thought that was the sign right there, student government elections. So that day I go home from school. I get into my kitchen. My mom and dad are there. I get home and they're in the kitchen. And I said, guess what? And they're like, what? I'm like, I'm going to run for student government, for freshman class vice president. And my mom whips her head around and looks at me. She goes, why vice president? And I'm like, well, I don't know what they do in student government. I got a plan. I said, I'm going to be vice president for the year, and then next year I'll be president when I know what they do. She goes, that's ridiculous. Nobody knows how to be president. You be president. So I was like, huh. And then the next thing I know, before I could say a blasted word, my father says, don't fill her head. She can't be president. She can't be vice president. Don't fill her head. Now, this is not a sad story. I had a great childhood. I had great parents, believe me. But and the thing was, my dad wasn't like that, right? So it was like, what you talking about, right? And my mother what are you talking about? Don't say that. She can do anything she puts her mind to. She absolutely can do anything she decides to do. And he's like, she can't do it. She can't be vice president. She can't be president. She can't be anything. Stop encouraging her. And they're going back and forth, and all of a sudden he looks at me and goes, Lou, how many people came from St. Pete's to the high school with you? And I'm like, I don't know, 6, 7? He goes, when's the election? I'm like, next Tuesday? He's like, yeah, there's 120 kids in that class if there's one. You know 6. He goes, and he looks at my mother. He goes, it's not about if she's amazing. It's not about if she can do anything. She just doesn't know enough people to get elected. And I was like, and my mother's not having it. She's just like, I don't care, right? So they go back and forth, and I go up to my room that night, and now I'm like upset because I want to be president now. The hell, vice president, that's out. She's right. Nobody knows how to do it. We'll figure it out. But I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I actually going to do? I really do only know 6 kids. So the next day, I get up, I go to school, and I literally walk the hallways. And as soon as I walk into school the very first morning, I woke up and I go, are you in the freshman class? Are you in the freshman class? Are you in the freshman class? And anytime somebody said yes, I went, oh, that's great. My name's LuAnn Schwartz. I'm running for freshman class president. I'm going to be the most amazing president you ever had. I know you don't know me, but it's okay. I'll be great. Vote for me. And if they said no, I'm like, do you have a brother, a sister, a cousin? Tell them to vote for me. I'm going to be amazing. So the next week, Tuesday, I walk home, I walk into the kitchen, and I look at my mom and dad, and I'm like, I'm president of the freshman class. Very excited. So it was really cool. But here is the defining moment of it, the lesson, the takeaway. What I learned that day has carried me through everything I've done. I understood and I learned that, number one, you have to have unwavering confidence. You have to. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to have confidence in your products. You have to have confidence in your services. You have to have confidence in your employees, your vendors, your trades, everything. 100% confidence. You, what you do, how you show up. How do you get that? You work for it. You make sure everything's buttoned up, right? It doesn't just fall on you. You're just not dawned on it, right? It doesn't just get put in your head. But the thing is, you can borrow confidence on the way. I borrowed my mother's confidence. She believed I could be president, so I borrowed it from her. And you can do that too. Borrow it from each other. Make relationships. You're here. Find a bestie. Call them. Lean on them. Join Interior Design Society. Join ASID. Do the things you got to do so that you can show up with confidence. But the thing is, you have to also be a little like my dad. You have to see the bumps in the road. You can't just have the confidence. Because between me and my mom, we would have been fine. I would have like, okay, I'm running for president. Let's see what happens. But because he saw the bumps in the road, he saw the pitfalls. This is when you watch your numbers. This is when you meet with your bookkeeper every week, not just in April. Okay? This is when you render and rectify your QuickBooks, not just in April. Right? This is being alert and understanding and looking out for the pitfalls. And then making a plan to mitigate them. Right? So that's what that was. My running around, who's your mother every day, right? Are you my mother? Are you my mother? Right? Me doing that was mitigating the obstacle that I was in front of, right? And then what's the third thing you have to have? You have to actually do the thing, right? You actually have to take action. What do we say all the time? Turn inspiration into action. Because inspiration by itself, it's not going to get you anywhere. If you come to market and you go to a panel and you learn something, you're like, that was great, I feel so smart. And then you don't do it, it's useless. And literally, entrepreneurship is littered with failed businesses because people have the information, they have the confidence, they have everything, but they don't take the action, right? So that was a defining moment for me, right? It's like I learned, really, like, put your bar high, right? Like Vinny always says, shoot up here. If you miss, you're here. If you shoot here and you miss, so bar high, go for president. But understand what you got to do to get there, and then have the courage, the guts to do it. I mean, people might think you're the biggest geek in the planet, but it's okay, right? So that was one moment that I will never forget, and I always, always reflect on it. Second moment that I want to share with you was when it came time to do the podcast. I had been listening to podcasts for several years, in like 2006. And I was on a podcast all of a sudden. It was a weird thing. It was on Harrow. Anybody heard of Harrow? Help a Reporter Out. And I was like, that's interesting. They want to talk to somebody about entrepreneurship. Do you guys know what Harrow is? Yeah. So you should sign up for Harrow if you have interest in being published. Not editorial beauty published, but like expertise published, right? So I was like, they're interviewing people that are entrepreneurs. I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur. I could do that. That should be fun. And I did that podcast interview. And the second I clicked off on the Skype, I was like, oh, sweet Jesus, I need one of those. I need me at the podcast. That was cool. And I was like, I wonder how you do a podcast. Could it be that complicated? And so I spent the next 3 months devouring every single piece of content I could on how to podcast. Books, YouTube, other podcasts, all of the things. And I also started coming up with the business plan for it because I wasn't interested in a hobby. I had hobbies. I went to yoga back in the day, swam laps, ran half marathons and tries. I did all those. That was my fun. So this podcast was not going to be for fun. I surely expected it, and it has been fun. But I wanted it to be a business. And so I wrote it all down, everything. And of course, the whole 3 months, Nigara, the Vin Man, he's hearing me talk about it. I'm getting up every single day at 6 o'clock in the morning, every single day at 6 o'clock in the morning to do the things, make the plans, all the things, like writing all the things, and how do you do this, and where's the technology, and blah, 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 blah. And then going to WindowWorks at 9 and doing all my job at WindowWorks, right? Selling the drapes and the blinds and all the blasted things. And finally, it's October, and I'm like, I'm ready. I've got my plan, I'm ready. So I say to him, October is like football and baseball season. It's two, right? It's not just one sport, it's two. So I said to him, this weekend when we're at the beach, I'd like about an hour of your time, undivided. And he goes, we're at the beach by ourselves all weekend, every weekend. I'm like, no, actually eyeball to eyeball. Not with the wine at the bar, eyeball to eyeball during the day. We're having a powwow. And so he's like, all right, fine. So all week, I can't wait till Saturday. I'm like, yay, Saturday, we're going to talk. I'm going to pitch my idea. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait. So Saturday morning, I look at him like, so what time do you want to get together? He's like, for what? I'm like, our big meeting. What do you mean for what? Oh, okay. I'm like, no baseball on, no football on, like undivided. Don't give me like a half an eyeball over here to like, oh, he just got a homer. No. Want the whole full attention. So we sit down and I start talking. I said, okay, here's the thing. I want to start a podcast. And he looks at me and he goes, okay, so now you're actually going to have to tell me what one is. I'm like, I've been talking about it for 3 months. He's like, I know, but you and your ideas. Who knew if this one was going to stick? I wasn't getting invested yet. So I explained to him it's Netflix for your ears. Right? It's Netflix for your ears. You don't miss anything. Turn it off. Come back when you want, right? So, and then I proceeded to run him through. And he's like grilling me. And how about this? And what about that? And how are you going to do this? And how are you going to do that? And I had my answers. I was ready. And at the end of it, he looks at me and he's like, this makes sense. I think this makes sense. And I'm like, it makes sense, right? I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? He's like, I think it does. I'm like, okay. He's like, so we're doing it? I'm like, so we're doing it? He's like, so we're doing it. And we did it, didn't we? With your help, right? So the thing is that the takeaway and the defining moment of that is one of the things that I had ready for him was 26 different ways that I might monetize this podcast. Friday, Power Talk Friday, one of those ways. The 3 books, one of those ways. Speaking at events like this, one of those ways. So with a plan, it is unfolding. LuAnn Live was on the list 6 years ago, 7 years ago when we did this. You know, and everything rolls out in its time, but it's all there on the plan. So this is the takeaway. What is on your plan? What is the plan for your business? Or do you just show up? Or do you have a plan on what's your annual revenue goal for 2024? How many projects will you do in 2024? When will you add your first employee? When will you add your 5th employee? What is the plan? Okay? The plan can change. We don't say pivot anymore. Robin wants us to say twirl. The plan can twirl. But twirling for a different idea is different than spinning in circles for no reason. Very different. And if you don't have a plan, how can you get anywhere? Where do you know you're going? You know, like, do you just put your car on and be like, I'll get to High Point, right? So this is the takeaway. And what's interesting for me is, you know, 7 years later, it's all rolling out just like we planned. And it's pretty darn cool. And you can do that too, okay? So I love that, all right? And I just love that happened that way and all the things. And then I will tell you, honestly, the final defining moment is this space right here. It's these faces. It's your faces looking at me. It's every time I walk into market, into KBIS, into wherever I go, and you stop me. And I wear green so you can know it's me. I do. It's on purpose. But I love it. I love that we have become friends. I love that I recognize you, and I love that I know who you are, and I feel like that you know who I am. And this community that we have created together, it is an amazing moment in time and space to be part of and to share with you guys. The gratitude is beyond comprehension for me. And when you come up to me and you tell me, I've been listening to your podcast and I was side hustling. So we've got Darla, who is Darla Powell, right? Wingnut Social, who listens to Wingnut Social podcast, right? Mini news, right? How much fun, right? You know, Darla tells me, I'm a sergeant in the Miami-Dade police force, and I'm listening to your podcast every single day. And after 6 months, I'm like, that's it. I want to be an interior designer. That's a pretty dramatic thing to have somebody tell you, right? Kelsey Gross, same thing, Farmer's Daughters Interiors up in Canada. LuAnn, I used to ride the tractor every single day, listening to your podcast thinking, I want to be an interior designer. Here's my business card, I'm a designer. Like, it's nuts. I've had dozens of you come and tell me this. I've had others come and tell me that the business was on the skids and you were about to give up 15, 20 years in. It's done. I can't do it. It's too hard. And then you find the podcast, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, if I did that, maybe that would happen. If I did this, maybe that would happen. And then the next thing you know, they're like, my business is back. I'm back on top. I'm making money. So it's entirely possible to run a well-designed business. It really is your choice. It's what do you bring to it. Me and all of my guests, we give you the information, but every time one of you comes to me and tells me, my business is this because of you, I'm like, sweetie, you had to do the work. There are 80,000 interior designers in the United States. Tens of thousands are listening to the show, but they're not all making money because they're consuming and not acting. You guys are the ones that take action. And I just want to high five every one of you for doing it. for wanting to make your business better, right? So, just thank you. Just thank you. Just thank you. To all of you, the faces that I see here. Vincenz for believing in the crazy plan and for being on board when, here's the other thing, it's just like everything else. You look at somebody's business on Instagram and you think what it is. You think that designer has got it easy and it's just all this and it just all worked out and all the things. It takes money and time. It's working now, all of the revenue streams that were on that list. But there was 2 years of investing. I have people come up to me and say, I'm not sure, should I invest $2,000 in this course or in that coach or whatever? The answer is yes. Yes. You can't grow your business without having somebody next to you that knows a little more than you do. Where would I be if I hadn't invested in Nicole Heimer as creative director of LuAnn Nigara, Inc.? Where would I be? The whole thing it took 4 years till I found Diana. Diana would have fixed it if I had screwed it up for 4 years, I promise you. She would have made us look pretty again. But this woman out the gate had me looking professional and being professional. I don't have that superpower. So if you don't have the superpower for finance, or you don't have the superpower to build a website, or you don't have the superpower for rendering, go get a professional. Yeah. Invest in it and do it. Takes money to make money, right? And it's time or money, right? We say on the show all the time, time or money. At that point in my life, we were spending money to make it happen. But anyway, so I just thank you, Vinny. Honestly, thank you, because this has been, my cousin Eileen is a leadership consultant and expert, and she helps you build your teams, okay? And she's excellent at it. And I'll tell you this one other little story. So there's a tool that she uses called the Predictive Index. And it's a behavioral assessment tool, if you've ever heard of it. It's similar to the Myers-Briggs and all that, but much more elevated, much more detail, right? And when we did my PI, it's called your PI, 10 years ago, I'm fully in WindowWorks with absolutely no visions of the podcast on my horizon. The D, so you get a graph, A, B, C, D, and it charts your personality. And the D represents your attention to detail. And you get 3 charts. You fill out this questionnaire. The first chart shows who your innate person is. The second chart shows what you think your job is, that you should do in your job, what your job requires you to be. And the third shows how you show up in your job. And when we would do the predictive index years ago, my D would always be on the lower side, which means I have at the time, it meant I had a low attention to detail. Lower than most humans, but not all the way. Then it would show that in my job requires a higher attention, much higher attention to detail. And then it would show that I would show up pulling towards the other. And she would say to me, "You're not working in your superpowers, Lou. You're not. I'm seeing this struggle. I'm seeing what you know the job requires you to do, measuring drapes, ordering drapes, 1/16 of an inch, yardages, all the crap," right? And she says, and I see you daily. This is showing me you're fighting against your superpowers. And I'm like, sweetie, it's a little late. We're 25 years into the business. This is the path we're on. You're like, whatever, right? So we did the PI for me again about 7 or 8 months ago. All of the things changed. My D now is less than 1% of all the humans on the planet. But guess what? What do I think my job requires me to do? About 5% of all the humans on the planet. And how do I show up? Less than 1%. Because I have that lady right there who locks me down, Diana. So the thing is, I'm in my space now. And that's what I want to thank my husband for and you guys for being here and for you giving a rat's you know what that I'm here. Because this is my greatest joy, to listen to you, to talk to you, to understand about your businesses, and maybe in a simple little conversation we can unlock something that you go home with and makes you feel like it's possible, right? So I hope and wish for all of you that you are living and working in your joy, all right? Because it is an amazing thing to be in that space. It took me 55 years to get there, but I'm here. And so if you're 25 or 35 or 45, do it. Do whatever it is, all right? So I have to say thank you so much. Thank you, really. And then we did a few questions, and I'm going to share a couple of them with you. And I want you to please keep in mind, whenever we are together live, I tend to talk a little bit more in my inside voice, if you catch my drift. Please know that I love you. I do respect you immensely, and I do understand the incredibly difficult job that you do of managing an interior design project. I get it. I actually do. But there is a point where the rubber meets the road, and you have to be realistic. And I'm just going to say, if you've never been with me live in person, hearing this Q&A, you might be like, what? The thing is, in real life, I tend to hit you a little bit more between the eyes than I do here on the podcast. So take it with a grain of salt. Know that I absolutely 100% understand how hard it is to run a business, especially an interior design business. Take a listen.
I'm Liz. I'm from Texas. I'm pretty loud, so I'm pretty sure everybody can hear my question.
Okay.
What made you decide? I know you always had window work, but why designers? Like, I want to know.
Why designers?
Yes.
Liz from Texas wants to know, why did I create a podcast for designers? All right, put your shells on. Get ready. You're going to take a hit right now. I love yous, but you drive me to drink. It's just a good thing I like to drink. Seriously. I mean, you hear my D. I have very low detail. But yet, for 35 years, I worked within designers doing their window treatments and doing their awnings and putzing with the insanity of your processes. Like, yeah, I get that we have process and detail because of Vincenz. I get that. But I follow them, for crying out loud. It took me 6 or 7 years to get on the train and get my butt kicked 20 million times. But I'm sorry, don't you get to a point where you actually have lost money for the 15th time and maybe put a structure to it? It's not rocket science, people. I'm the least detailed, most unorganized person, and it even pisses me off when I do the same thing wrong 3 times. Come on! But no, year after year after year. Oh, okay, we're going to deliver your drapes. Literally, we just had this recently. Delivered the full set of drapes. 6 pairs of drapes to somebody. Gets the call from the install. These are not supposed to be installed at the crown. Oh, no, sweetie, they are, though. You see, they are. Oh, no, we changed it. Really? Did you send a smoke signal? Like, what the hell? I mean, I'm dead serious. You know, oh, I'm sure my assistant told you. Are you, though? Because you better go get sure and then come back and talk to us. Because I don't think you're going to get that proof that you think is out there. Okay? So honestly, so really, so here's the thing. It was fertile ground. I knew you needed me. I knew you needed me. I heard you calling and I came. Kim.
Okay, hi, Kim from Really Interiors.
Yay!
Arizona. What is your plan in the next 7 years?
It's very tough. Very, very tough.
We want the team. We want the team.
World domination. President. Yeah, you couldn't pay me now. Not a chance. So here's the thing. It's tough to say 7 years. Kim, I'm 60. The Vincenz is going to be 75 in 3 or 4 months, right? Yay, Nigara. If I make a plan for 7 years out, I think I'll... 3. All right. 3 years out. And you guys are going to help me do it. 3 years out. There's 80,000 interior designers in the U.S. I would say 10 to 20 know about the podcast. What the hell, man? Like, what the hell? Where are the rest of them? Like, I still meet people that are like, I never heard of your podcast. I'm like, what rock do you live under? So, help a girl out. Tell a friend. Tell somebody on social. You meet a designer. Say, did you hear about this podcast? Because that's the thing. That is our number one goal right now. Let's take that number to 30, 40, 50,000. Because they all need help just like you. Right? And I love doing it. So, yes. So that is actually the focus. It's like, let's just keep drilling in. Let's just keep doing what we're doing, creating good content. So, again, my sincere thanks to Mydoma Studio, the platform to operate your organized, efficient, and profitable business from, and to Jaipur Living, your resource for the best quality rugs from the finest artisans for every project you have. Please go to the show notes for the links to these amazing companies. Thank you. Thank you for this journey that we are on together. Let's keep doing it. What do you say? Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.